And this is another image of her, great image. And we, in Carmel, California, we met this lady by the name of Marilyn Hamilton. Marilyn Hamilton was a hang glider, was an avid hang glider in her young days. And one day she had a very bad accident, and she was paralyzed. And when she was paralyzed, she was this, she loved sports, she practiced different types of sports, but she was a very resilient woman. What she did is she invented a wheelchair that allows the disabled sportsman or sportswomen to practice their sports. And this is actually her sitting in one of her wheelchairs that she invented. And she was playing tennis. And her invention was so unique that in the Smithsonian today, there is this replica of her wheelchair, the one that she invented. And then she became very famous since she's in California. She was invited by the Minerva. She was given the Minerva Awards, and she met with the First Lady, then First Lady Maria Shriver, and she received the honors. She met Dalai Lama, and when we met her at her house in Carmel, that wheelchair is her product too, by the way, she told us that she got her resilience from her grandmother, Khatun Yakujen. So that's where her resilience comes from a Ferrari woman, grandmother. Now, earlier I mentioned that we'll also discuss Islamized Armenians, even Armenians. So we proceeded to Turkey to do some research about that particular issue. Western Armenia, or occupied Armenia, which is Turkey today, is a beautiful, beautiful country. That was the fortress of Kharkiv, and this is another image from there. Like I said, it's a beautiful place. This is a typical Armenian village that, sort of is in the same way that was 100 years ago. It was like some of the things in this village were frozen in time. I'll show you some examples. These are, uninhabited homes of Armenians that we visited. And, it's like nobody's there. That's another example. And then in the same area, we visited Gorj Dudan of Chumuch. This is a tiny little, the blackness that you see is about 300 feet deep hole, about 15 by 10 wide. And there in that hole, 10,000 Armenians were thrown in during the genocide by Kurds. Then in the same area, we met Asya. I'm sure some of you know about her. She made the news about a year ago or so. So we met her. She's a typical Cuban Armenian. At the age of 13, during the genocide, she was adopted by a Kurdish family. We don't know the real story if she was forcibly married into the family or not. But she says that she's an Armenian. She has Armenian roots. Then in Diyarbakir, we met with Baytar and Sarkis. I'm sure you've heard about her too, because she passed away about 5 months ago, I believe. The amazing thing about Baytar was she spoke to us in Armenian, but not Western or Eastern Armenian, but Ikranaya Armenian. And she lived all her life as a Turk or a Kurd, and but she always knew that she was an Armenian. So while we were interviewing her, I realized that there was a door to her left. So I walked in, and I saw another lady inside. I asked what her name was. She said, "It's Victoria." I said, "Who are you?" She said, I'm her sister. I'm Baytar's sister. I said, "Oh, so you're an Armenian too?" She said, "No, I'm Turk." I said, "Your sister is Armenian. How come you're a Turk?" She said, I'm Turk. I'm not Armenian." No. She said, "I'm not Armenian." this is the reality of the situation. You know, in one family, one admits that they have Armenian roots, the other one doesn't, and they, you know, they don't feel like they're Armenians. Then we proceeded to Gars, and in the ruins of Ani, we ran into Peter Balakian by chance. We didn't know he was there. And he was there in the Maya Dajar when we met her. And I told him, I said, Peter, I was looking for you. I would like to interview you for my next film, which was Women of 1915. He said, sure, I would, but I'm not dressed up, I'm not shaved, you know, I look bad. I said, Peter, listen, look around you. Look where you are, where I am. I have my equipment, and you're the master, you know, the expert in the field. Let's do it. He said, okay, and we did it. While we were doing this, and minding this is in the wine Dajar, the door that you see to his left, all of a sudden, I saw this. A cow grazing in the most sacred Armenian church. And the interesting thing about this is that that place, the ruins of Ani, is managed or ran by the Turkish Ministry of Tourism. You pay 5 liras or 10 liras, I don't know, they give you a little ticket, you walk in, it's a good touristic site, historical site. And I remember, I asked myself, I said, you know, we were in Istanbul a few days ago, and we went to other historic sites, Turkish historic sites. I didn't, not only cow, but I didn't even see a fly. You know, it was clean, very well kept, but in the Armenian churches, they let the cows graze. This is another shot of a shepherd with his little cows. Now, when we were in this is in Istanbul, by the way, beautiful scenery. This is in Palu, an amazing group of friends I was with on the hills of Palu. Look, this is where we are, overlooking Palu, where Palu was one of, you know, it was an amazing Armenian village. And if you look at it now, this is Palu again. You don't see, you know, the trace of a single home. They were all probably underground. I don't know what they did or carried the stones away. So there is nothing left. This is, of course, Ahtamar in Lake Van region. This is Moks, Mogas Ashkar, another paradise on earth. This is where thousands of years ago, I'm sure you know about the Mogas Hearts, the brides of Moks, the most beautiful women, the brides were made there. You know, the famous Mogas music, the musical piece was created there on those beautiful lands. And nobody lives there. This gentleman, a local in the area, he said, with his hand, he's doing this gesture, he says, see around here, it was all Armenian, and there's none left. But he didn't say why they left. He didn't say, you know, when, you know, what happened to them. He just said they left. Then we saw this gentleman in the same area on a horse. And I mean, if you look closely to his face, I said, maybe he's an Armenian, but probably even he doesn't know that he's an Armenian, because the word is that in that region, Kurdish areas of Turkey, 80%, this is a non-official you know, estimate, 80% of the Kurdish families have Armenian grandmothers, 80%. And then in Diyarbakir, on the highway, we saw this huge sign. It's huge, like a highway sign that we have here. It says, you know, welcome in Turkish, Kurdish, and Armenian twice. I said, why twice? You know, I'm thinking, and then we talked amongst us, we realized that, okay, so probably one is for Eastern Armenians, and one is for Western Armenians. But it's spelled the same way. But we were very welcome. But in reality, we don't even know how welcome we are. But, you know. Then this is the typical way of treatment that Armenian historical churches get in Turkey. We hear a lot about they've turned into barns. This is an actual barn. The proof is you see the hay, the tarp, the two wheels, and the beautiful church back there with amazing frescoes, you know, inside. Beautiful frescoes inside. And then in the church, these children are playing. I mean, again, they're from that region that said that 80% of them have Armenian grandmothers. Look at their faces, at least the girl in the middle. You know, I mean, come on. You know, the sad story about this is they don't even know. And even if they find out on them, or one day, some of them will refuse their roots, even, you know, fight against it, and some will accept, you know, their roots. And that's again in front of the Maya Gajar. And oh, this one, the art maker, this boy. The Unibrow is an Armenian trait. So you can't argue against that, but you can prove it. And then this girl, you know, or her mom, this lady, if you take the scarf off. One thing we were sure that Fatia Chetin was an Armenian, or is an Armenian. Although 1/8 of an Armenian, but she's an Armenian, strong Armenian. She was the attorney of Hrant, and after he was murdered, she's the attorney of the family. An amazing woman, a Turkish woman, but 1/8 Armenian, but 100%. She was 100% Armenian. Again, I'm done, but I would like to mention about tomorrow's film festival. The goal is to fill up the theater tomorrow, because that determines if the film will be successful or not. So if you're in the area, or if you would like to drive an hour tomorrow at 5 p.m., at least find yourself at the theater. I'll see you there.
What theater?
Laguna Hills Theater. It's the Laguna Hills Mall. Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. As the last speaker was finishing up, all of us looked to one another and we said, wow, that's real powerful stuff. How do you follow that? Well, we're going to try. Let's see what we can do here. Distinguished guests, sister, dear friends, on behalf of the Armenian Women's Coalition of Los Angeles, it is an honor and a pleasure to welcome you to our panel this afternoon, where we will explore the new avenues of survival in the diaspora. 100 years ago, Armenians were an oppressed people without freedom, without liberty. What we had going for us was an indomitable spirit and a rich tapestry of history filled with arts and culture, education and entrepreneurship, religion and spiritualism. Like many other peoples, we were filled with hopes and dreams that as the world entered the 20th century, we too would experience autonomy and perhaps even independence. Unfortunately for us, we experienced unspeakable horrors and the devastating effects of genocide, systematic annihilation, war, poverty, and disease. We were dispersed from our historic lands to the four corners of the earth and spent the next several decades just trying to survive. As a young child, studying my Armenian history or my language books at the cafeteria of the Kaiser Hospital on Sunset in Hollywood, I was constantly asked, what is an Armenian? What is your language? Where is your country? Are you Christian? Fortunately for us, those are not the questions that Armenians are asked of today. Today, after 100 years, like a phoenix, we have risen from our ashes, and we have entered the world stage, bringing with us our many achievements in arts, culture, politics, activism, history, and education. Today, there are very few who do not know who we are. We have survived. However, we face new challenges, especially here in the diaspora, where we must compete with the trappings of wealth, the apathy of our youth, and a race against time in the preservation of our historical artifacts. Today, we must find new avenues of survival. Our panelists this afternoon are Tina Demircan, who will discuss how to integrate our youth into our family life and keep them interested in our culture. Attorney Madal Najarian Yakubian, who will address securing the Armenian heritage in the digital age, and Attorney Artin Artunyan, who will talk about activism of the youth in the civil society. Each presentation will be followed by a brief question and answer session. Our first speaker, Tina Demircan, is a poet and author of Imprint, which was published thanks to a grant from the City of Glendale Arts and Culture Commission and additional funding from the Durfee Foundation. Her works have been published in a number of national journals, including Aspera, the Ararat International Journal, the Midwest Poetry Review, the Texas Observer, as well as the Los Angeles Times and High Performance Magazine. Her works have also been compiled in Birthmark, a bilingual anthology of Armenian American poetry, and she has received 2 grants from the City of Los Angeles. Tina has also taught poetry in schools, libraries, and museums since 1991. For her, teaching has been the vehicle that allows her the opportunity to best serve the community in which she lives. Since 2000, Tina has directed the Armenian Dress and Textile Project, whose mission is to unlock the lives and mysteries of our grandmothers, bridging the past with the present using clothing and dowry items that originated in Turkey and belonged to her family in the late 19th century. Library, the historic Doctor's House, through funds from the California Council of the Humanities. Tina will address the topic of integrating our youth into Armenian family life and keeping them interested in our culture through the process of discovering the sights, sounds, textures, and memories of our past and integrating them into our present lives.